The subway is silent at night. Too silent. I've worked here for years. I know the usual sounds: the distant echo of a train, the low hum of machinery, the occasional drip of water somewhere deep underground. But sometimes it stops. All of it. And then you notice the breathing. I first heard it when the monitors went dark. Just a pause in the hum of the control room. My own breath, steady at first, then not. Something else. Something slow, patient, watching. The flickering lights cast shadows that moved where no one should be. Corners that should have been empty, but weren't. I froze. The microphones and alarms in front of me, everything was functional, yet I felt observed. And then it whispered. Not through the speakers, not a recording, right in my ear. One word: don't. I swear I could feel it lean closer. The room's temperature dropped. My heartbeat thundered. I wanted to leave. I wanted to run, but the stairwell behind me seemed impossibly far. I realized then, this isn't just a shift. Something down here isn't supposed to exist. And it knows I'm alone. I'm a subway dispatcher. I monitor trains, manage signals, coordinate emergency communications. My office is below the city, deep underground. The walls are concrete, cold, damp. Fluorescent lights hum constantly overhead. Equipment racks line the walls. Screens glow, phones buzz. The routine is simple. Check monitors, track trains, respond to alerts. Late-night shifts are quiet, empty tunnels, the occasional maintenance crew. Footsteps echo in the distance. At first, it's calming. The quiet hum of electricity, the low rumble of the city above. The isolation gives you space to think, to breathe. But beneath the surface, something changes. The smell is always there. Ozone, metal, wet concrete. Sometimes faintly something else, like smoke or rotting fabric. I can't place it. Then there's the darkness, the parts the lights don't reach. Corners behind equipment racks, maintenance closets, stairwells leading deeper. The shadows seem thicker there, heavier, watching. Sometimes monitors flicker. Trains that aren't scheduled appear briefly on the screens. Cameras pick up movement where nothing exists. I rationalize. Electrical interference, technical error, fatigue. But the feeling persists. A presence, always at the edge of my senses, patient, waiting. I've learned to ignore it, mostly. Late-night shifts are the worst. That's when the city above sleeps, when tunnels are empty, when I hear whispers I can't explain, soft words that fade when I look around, rustling from empty corridors. I've started locking doors I never locked before, triple-checking equipment, talking to myself to break the silence. And sometimes, when I turn around, I think I see someone standing just beyond the reach of the lights, watching, waiting. I'm not supposed to tell anyone. The first night it happened, it was subtle. Monitors flickered. Static appeared briefly on the cameras. Screens that should be black glowed faintly with shapes that didn't match the tunnels. A maintenance closet door I'd left closed, slightly ajar. I thought I was imagining it. Fatigue, stress, months underground. Then came the sounds. Not loud, just faint echoes. Footsteps in hallways where no one was scheduled. Rustling cables. A low scraping from the walls. I rationalized. Expansion of metal, rats, ventilation. Anything to avoid facing the feeling in my gut. But shadows started moving differently. Corners of the room darkened even though the lights worked. Shapes shifted just beyond sight. The intercom buzzed once. A voice, not familiar, not recorded. One word: stop. I spun around. Nothing. No one in the office. All the doors locked, monitors normal. Yet my pulse raced. Equipment started acting strange. Phones rang with static. Screens briefly displayed messages I couldn't read. Coordinates, dates, names, my name. I tried to ignore it, but the presence was there, solid, persistent, just beyond my vision, always watching, waiting. I began to sense its attention. My thoughts felt exposed, my actions anticipated. I could feel a weight in the room, a pressure, and sometimes, just for a moment, I saw it, lean, dark, faceless, standing at the edge of light, then gone. It was 2:47 a.m. The tunnels were empty, the station silent. I was reviewing train logs when the lights flickered. Not the usual hum, a complete blackout. The monitors died, phones went dead, the emergency lights barely glowed. And then I heard it, breathing, behind me, slow, deliberate. I froze, heart hammering, every muscle tense. A whisper right in my ear. You shouldn't be here. I spun, nothing. Air thick, cold. The stairwell looked impossibly far away. I tried to call for help. My voice caught, nothing came out. A shadow moved along the wall. Not my shadow, not anything I recognized. Lean, tall, impossible angles, watching, waiting. I stumbled toward the console, rebooted systems, monitors flickered to life, the shadow vanished, equipment normal, phones worked. But I knew, I could feel it. Presence still in the room, patient, intelligent, not human. I realized then this was real, not fatigue, not imagination. Something down here had been waiting, something aware, something angry. After that night, everything changed. I began noticing the patterns. The lights would dim in sections of the control room that I never used. The air seemed heavier near certain consoles. My own movements echoed differently, like the room anticipated me before I moved. Footsteps, always footsteps. Not in the tunnels this time, inside the room, behind me, slow, heavy. But every time I turned, nothing. Sometimes the monitors would flicker and show things, faces, just for a frame or two, pressed against the glass of the tunnels. Hollow eyes, open mouths, shapes impossible to describe, and just as quickly, gone. I tried leaving the office, heading toward the stairwell. Doors that were always unlocked wouldn't budge, keypad dead, emergency exits electronically sealed. The room trapped me. I started hearing whispers, faint at first, single words, stop, leave, stay. They weren't coming from the speakers, not recordings, from nowhere, everywhere, sometimes in my head. The shadows began moving with intent. Corners of the room I thought were solid, warped. Reflections in the monitors, not my own. The feeling of being watched became suffocating. One night, I reached for the emergency phone. My hand froze. Something cold pressed against my wrist. Not human, solid, strong, a warning. I yanked away, heart pounding. I tried rationalizing. Air drafts, electrical faults, my mind playing tricks. But I knew I wasn't imagining this. Not anymore. Every night, the presence grew bolder. It moved objects, chairs, pens, papers. Never anything violent, just reminders. Reminders that I was being observed and that there was nowhere to go. I stopped sleeping, just staring at the monitors, waiting, hoping, praying the shift would end. But the darkness, it doesn't follow schedules. It doesn't tire. It waits. By the third week, even my thoughts weren't private. The whispers would mimic them, complete sentences, conversations I hadn't spoken out loud, commands I didn't understand. And still, I stayed, because leaving wasn't an option. Not physically, not mentally. It happened on the night of the fourth blackout. The hum died, emergency lights barely glowed. I was alone, or at least I thought I was. Then the monitors flickered. For the first time, I saw it fully. A figure, tall, impossibly thin, its head low, twisted, limbs long and wrong, faceless, standing at the edge of the control room, watching, breathing, slow, measured. I froze. Every instinct screamed to run. My legs refused. It moved closer. The shadows it cast warped reality. Walls seemed to stretch, bend. The temperature plummeted. My own breath fogged the air. I could hear my heartbeat, loud, erratic, my own fear reflected in the flickering monitors. Then it whispered, not a word, a vibration, a command. My thoughts weren't my own. I couldn't think clearly, couldn't move. It was right behind me, pressing into me. I felt its presence in my chest, my vision tunneled. And then the lights came back, just for a second, and it was gone. Not vanished, not disappeared, just absent from sight. But I knew it had left an imprint, a warning. I wasn't safe, not even with the lights on. I survived that night. I'm here, talking to you, reporting what happened. But nothing changed. The presence still lingers, watching, waiting, always patient. I still hear whispers, see shadows, doors lock on their own, monitors flicker with faces I don't recognize. I don't leave the office anymore. I can't, and I don't know if I ever will. If you were trapped in this place, would you survive? Because I'm still here, still listening, and it hasn't forgotten me. If you want more true feeling horror stories, like and subscribe, but don't get too comfortable. Some places don't want you to leave.